Hey friends, it's Miss Thomasini. Do you remember our book, The Night at Dawn? Yeah, super cool. So the last time we were reading it, let's review a few things what happened. Okay, you see the night at dawn. Um, they had just come through the castle. Remember the drawbridge and the moat that goes around it? And they had come upon a feast. Jack and Annie did. They saw lots of fun things happening, like people juggling balls, everybody in fancy suits and outfits, eating a lot of food in the dining hall. Oh, well, then this guy ran into them carrying pies and he said, "Who art thou?" And it scared them really bad and they ran off. Well, they ran so fast and so quickly that they didn't even know that they were running into the armory where they saw a bunch of headless knights in shining armor. Well, that's when they realized it was just their outfits. Remember? There weren't really people in there. That was just where they get dressed. And then Jack got a little curious because he remembered that the helmets were supposed to be as heavy as a 5-year-old, and he tried to put one on, but he fell and lost his balance. And the next thing you know, somebody grabbed him by the arm and yanked his helmet off. And he was staring into the blazing light of a fiery torch. It just occurred to me that maybe you guys don't know what a torch is. So I pulled up a picture, and this is the picture of a torch. Right, because they didn't have lights back then in the medieval times. So this is how people used um, fire to help them see. Okay, so this is a torch, and there's a lot of talk about torches in this book, so that's what they're talking about. If you drop this in any kind of water, the fire will go out and then you can't see anymore. All right, let's set our setting at the castle. They are at the castle right now. Remember, they're stuck in the armory, and somebody just shined a torch in their eyes and yanked off their helmet. We are in chapter 6. It's called Ta-da! Okay. In the torchlight, Jack saw 3 huge men standing over him. One with very squishy eyes held the torch. Can you do that? Can you hold the torch with squishy eyes? One with a very red face held Jack. Can you make your face red? Oh, that was scary. And one with a very long mustache held on to Annie. Annie was kicking and yelling. "Stop!" said the one with the very long mustache. "Who art thou?" said the one with the very red face. "Spies, foreigners, Egyptians, Romans, Persians," said the squishy-eyed ones. "No, you dummies," said Annie. "Oh, brother," Jack muttered. "Arrest them," said the red-faced one. "The dungeon," said the squishy eyes. The guard marched Jack and Annie out of the armory. Jack looked back frantically. Where was his backpack? "Go," said a guard, giving him a push. Jack went. Down they marched, down the long, dark hallway. Squishy, Annie, Mustache, Jack, and Red. Down a narrow, winding staircase. Jack heard Annie shouting at the guards. "Dummies! Meanies! We didn't do anything!" The guards laughed. They didn't take her seriously at all. At the bottom of the stairs was a big iron door with a bar across it. Let me show you. I think we're gonna get right. Nope, that's the torch. Okay, yeah, there is the iron door. It's not like an iron that mom uses to on your clothes. Iron is this type of metal that's called iron, and there's a big bar across it. This one doesn't really have a giant bar, but it does a little bit. It's kind of like a dungeon, kind of like jail. At the bottom of the stairs was a big iron door with a bar across it. Squishy pushed the bar off the door, then he shoved at the door and it creaked open. Jack and Annie were pushed into a cold and clammy room. The fiery torch lit the dungeon. There were chains hanging from the filthy walls. Water dripped from the ceiling, making puddles on the stone floor. It was the creepiest place Jack had ever been. "We'll keep them here till the feast is done, then turn them over to the Duke," said Squishy. "He knows how to take care of thieves." "There will be a hanging tomorrow," said Mustache. "If the rats don't get them first," said Red. They all laughed. Jack saw that Annie had his backpack. She was quietly unzipping it. I wonder if she has a plan. "Come on, let's chain the two of them," said Squishy. The guards started towards them. Annie whipped out her flashlight out of the pack. "Ta-da!" she yelled. The guards froze. They stared at the shiny flashlight in her hand. Remember, because they're from a long time ago, they've never seen electricity or a flashlight or anything. Light bulbs, they've never even seen that. They were like, "What is that?" Annie switched the light on. The guards gasped in fear. They jumped back against the wall. Squishy dropped the torch and it fell into a dirty puddle on the floor and it sputtered and it went out. "My magic wand," Annie said, waving the flashlight. "Get down or I'll wipe you out." Jack's mouth dropped open. Annie fiercely pointed her light at one, then the other. Each howled and covered his face, because it kind of hurts when you shine a light in their face. Look, show you. Here's the guards. That one's red. You can't see his face because he's covering it, but he's really mad. And this one right here is Mustache because he has a giant mustache. And this one's Squishy because look at his face. He's so squishy because he can't even see anything. It's so dark. There's Jack and Annie, and she's pretending that her flashlight is a magic wand. And they are so terrified they've never seen anything like it. So Annie kind of had that plan. She's kind of got a little power over them now. Look, now they're scared and she feels brave. So she says, "Down, all of you, get down," shouted Annie. One by one, the guards lay down on the wet floor. Jack couldn't believe it. "Come on," Annie said to him. "Let's go." Jack looked at the open doorway. He looked at the guards quaking on the ground. "Hurry," said Annie. In one leap, Jack followed her out of the terrible dungeon. Chapter 7, A Secret Passage. Annie and Jack, let me move over just a little bit so you can see better. Annie and Jack raced back up the winding stairs and down the long hallway. They hadn't gone far when they heard the shouting behind them. Dogs barked in the distance. "They're coming!" Annie cried. "In here," said Jack. He shoved open a door off the hallway and pulled Annie into a dark room. Jack pushed the door shut. Then Annie shined her flashlight around the room. There were rows of sacks and wooden barrels. "I'd better look in the book," said Jack. "Give it to me." Annie gave him the flashlight and his backpack. He pulled out the book and started tearing through it. "Shh," said Annie. Someone's coming. Jack and Annie jumped behind the door as it creaked open. Jack held his breath. A light from a torch danced wildly over the sacks and barrels. The light disappeared. The door slammed shut. Oh, man, whispered Jack. We have to hurry. They might come back. His hands were trembling as he flipped through the pages of the castle book. Here is a map of the castle, he said. Look, this must be the room we're in. It's a store room. Jack studied the room in the book. There are sacks of flowers and barrels of wine. Who cares? We have to go, said Annie, before they come back. No, look, said Jack. He pointed at the map. Here is a trap door. You guys know what a trap door is? It's like if it's down, you can't tell. It just looks like part of the floor. But if you know where to look, you pull up a piece of the floor, and it's a hidden passageway. So their floor doesn't look exactly like this. Their floor has like stone tiles on it. And this floor is just an example to show you what a trapdoor kind of looks like. It's a way for you to make a secret escape. You don't have to leave the room. You just open up the floor and go down the secret passage. Okay, and let's finish. No, look, said Jack. He pointed at the map. Here's a trap door. He read aloud. This door leads from the storeroom through a secret passage to a precipice over the moat. What's a precipice? Said Annie. I don't know. We'll find out, said Jack. But first, we have to find the door. Jack looked at the picture carefully. Then he shined the flashlight around the room. The floor of the room was made up of stones. The trapdoor in the picture was 5 stones away from the door to the hall. Jack shined the light on the floor and counted the stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He stopped on the 5th stone. It was loose. He put the flashlight on the floor, and he worked his fingers under the thin sheet of stone and tried to lift it. Help, Jack said. Annie came over and helped him lift the stone square out of its place. Underneath was a small wooden door. Jack and Annie tugged on the rope handle of the door. The door fell open with a thump. Jack picked up the flashlight and shined it in the hole. There's a little ladder, he said. Let's go. He clipped on the flashlight and felt his way down the small ladder. Annie followed. When they both reached the bottom of the ladder, Jack shined the light around them. There was a tunnel, and he crouched down and began moving through the wet and creepy tunnel. The flashlight barely lit the stone walls. He shook the light. Were the batteries running out? I think our light is dying, he said to Annie. Hurry, she called from behind. Jack went faster. His back hurt from crouching. The light got dimmer and dimmer. He was desperate to get out of the castle before the batteries died completely. Soon he reached another small wooden door, the door at the end of the tunnel. Jack unlatched the door and pushed it open. He poked his head outside. He couldn't see anything in the darkness. The air felt good, though, fresh and cool. He took a deep breath. Where are we? Whispered Annie behind him. What do you see? Nothing. But I think we've come to the outside of the castle, said Jack. I'll find out. Jack put the flashlight in his pack. He put the pack on his back. He stuck his hand out the door. Remember, it was really dark. He couldn't feel the ground, just the air. I'm going to have to go feet first, he said. Jack turned around in the small tunnel. He lay down on his stomach and he stuck one leg out the door, then the other leg. Jack inched down bit by bit until he was hanging out of the door, clinging to the ledge. This must be the precipice, he called to Annie. Pull me up. Let me show you. Look, it's this like window right here. He tried to put his feet out, but nothing was there, and he was holding onto the ledge, but then he fell. Annie reached for Jack's hands. I can't hold you, she said. Jack felt his fingers slipping, and then down he fell, down through the darkness. Splash! Oh boy, that's chapter 8. We're not going to read that today, but where do you think he landed? Ooh, where do you think he landed? I do not like the sound of this, friends. When I hear splash, I think of water. And I remember our picture of the castle. Yeah, let's look back. Where do you think he landed? Hmm. All right, friends. We'll read the rest of it tomorrow. See you later. Come on. Close, 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 close.